Welcome back to another podcast with me and the boys. It's so glad to have you guys back.
No. It's not you and the boys.
I said me and the boys.
It's
what
the
am I supposed
boys
to
and
say?
I.
Huh?
No.
Wait. You just renamed the whole
The
show.
whole podcast.
You renamed the whole show right at the jump.
All right, go again.
What's going on
So
here?
should I say it is the boys and him?
Yes, that's better.
No, that doesn't make not that it doesn't make sense, but you get what
No,
I'm saying.
it's me and the boys.
So you do the intro.
So you do
then.
the intro then.
No, go.
This is a podcast where we talk about a whole variety of topics, everything from fatherhood to dating to church to religion, and we all kind of bring a different perspective in our each of our different generations, our different age groups, our different experiences. We just thank you guys so much for joining us again. We really appreciate the support. Like and subscribe. Today, I think we're going to be talking about what was it?
The shorties. Yeah, folks, we're talking about dating today. Dating. Two married men and a bachelor.
Oh, that just caught me off guard. Two married men.
He said
Yeah.
who? He said
I
who?
was like,
You forgot for a second, didn't
I'm
you?
the one that's married here.
I mean, hey, I'm the only one with a ring right now, so I mean, maybe I'm the only one that's.
Okay, first things first. I want to know how dating was for you back in your day. Because you got married pretty early. You got married at, what, 21, 22? When you were my age, basically. When you were my age, you were getting married. So before marriage, and even up till marriage, how was dating
I
for
thought you were going to say after marriage.
Hey, man.
hey, but dating should continue after marriage anyway.
It does.
Spitting.
It does.
You said that too much. Don't get too freaky on the podcast now. Date night getting kind of serious.
I should tell you.
Please
No, don't.
But tell us, how was dating for you back in the day?
What do you mean?
Like-
how was it?
Dating now, most people find a partner through social
app.
media, through an app, through maybe a mutual friend. I feel like mutual friend dating is probably the least that happens nowadays. I feel like most people find their significant others through like apps or social media, DMing someone on Instagram, stuff like that. That wasn't around back in your time. So
Right.
how was it going out with people, meeting people, and how
They
was
sent
it
a pigeon.
on dates with girls? Like,
They sent a
what are the
pigeon.
things you noticed? They sent
Shut
a
up.
pigeon.
What's said in a pigeon?
No,
So-
messages in the smoke.
I think you find somebody that you want to date in communities, and there were communities, and I'll tell you about my communities back then. But even on different apps right now, those are communities that you have created, right? My community as a Gen Xer was basically social events, hanging at the mall, type of thing.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Going to church. And it was church. I went to church a lot for girls.
Fair enough. You gotta tell me, big man. You gotta tell me. That's gonna be especially funny later on.
Right.
So, or through mutual friends or camps, right? So, and school, of course. But I found for me personally, school was it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was those communities that we saw people and liked people, and wasn't. I mean, I hear you guys talking about dating and all that. Back in my days, there were some guys that would gradually say things like just become friends. I wasn't that type of guy.
Waste of
I
time.
was waste of
Straight to the
time.
business.
Straight to business.
Yeah, man.
Girl, I like you. I like what I'm seeing. Let's explore. I would love to be your man.
Come on, no.
And
that?
Love to be your
He's
man is
putting
a
y'all
crazy
on game.
line.
Keep game and lock in. Y'all need to pick up on this. This is the old style Riz. That's what they call it now, the Riz, right?
And
old style.
yeah,
Riz.
Yeah, right?
it was,
Charisma.
it was right. It depends on the girl. She would say, "Hell no," right
Yeah,
there and
but
then.
you move on. You
move on.
You
And then
swing
you move on.
again.
Exactly.
Exactly. I feel
I
like
mean,
that's
sometimes your feeling get a little.
Yeah, you get your feel.
Your little
I
ego
feel like
gets
that's
a
a
little
big
cracked.
difference between dating then and dating now.
Yeah,
though.
big
I
time.
feel like a big factor in dating now is a fear of rejection.
Right.
So people will just not And that's, I think, why people try to do gradual stuff now
Yeah.
Right.
versus back then. I feel like it comes into why sometimes older generations will say our generation is soft, because like certain things, like going up to somebody and just being like, "Hey, I like you,"
Right.
like give me your number, or
Right.
what's your landline.
But note,
You got
I
that.
can
Right?
hardly think of a time when I got rejected.
Oh, he said he's like that.
He's
No,
like that, bro.
definitely.
He's like
Definitely.
that. Like father, like son. Come on now.
Is it son or sons?
I don't know. Rashaun.
Hey man, I'm the one married.
I'm talking about me.
I'm the one married though, so I mean,
I'm married to the game. What can I say?
No, yeah, but it was more of I like what I see, and I want to explore more of who you are.
Right.
So let's see where this goes. And for me, it was, if I didn't see what I want early on, I wasn't going to stay around.
Fair enough.
But I was very honest with that.
Right.
And I think the difference also is that dating for me back then was really just going out. Being your boyfriend was a totally different thing. All right. So dating, I believe I could date several different persons at the same time.
yeah, you
Right.
should.
Which is the definition of the world. These days, people usually say dating and they're talking about like, oh, I'm in a relationship with this person. But that's
Well, I
not
feel like
dating.
it's different.
Right.
If I say I'm dating versus if I say I'm dating next, I feel like both of those have different connotations.
I mean, yes
Or they
and
should
no,
have
but
different
like you can
connotations.
date
Like, I'm
Knicks
like if I
and
say
date
I'm
five other
dating,
people as well because
no,
you're
no,
dating,
no.
right?
Yeah, I get you, but I just mean in terms of how the language has progressed
Right,
to
right,
our
right, right. For sure,
generation.
for sure,
Now
for
we
sure.
normally attribute, like you said, if I'm dating and I have a person after it, I'm only dating that one person.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So that's what basically it was. I was really just hanging out at the mall. There wasn't. I remember I took out a girl once that I really thought I really liked, and I made a decision to carry her out instead of I was saving up to carry my parents out for their anniversry. That's why I get mad with you guys when you don't even tell me happy
I
anniversary.
did not marry y'all, bro.
Whatever.
I wasn't even there.
Anyway, I made the decision to carry this girl out. Got a cab, and went to a restaurant. Beforehand, I went and I wanted candlelight.
Okay.
And,
Smooth
the
guy.
whole works, and she turned out to be the worst nightmare I've ever had.
Where's the people that money?
Waste.
That's the worst, yo.
Waste,
That's the
yeah.
worst.
But generally it's casual. It's going to the beach, walking on the beach, or going to a social event, or going to church.
Okay.
And just hanging out, just getting to know each other. I didn't have phones then. I didn't have a house phone or worse, a cell phone.
Yeah.
So it was more, hey, let's meet at this place at 5 o'clock.
You just have to hope that she.
I just have to
Hey.
hope
Yeah,
that.
But what's funny, I rather that.
Oh, you do?
Because think about it this way. That happens in this day and age anyway. You still get stood up. Even though you have direct access to the person on Instagram
Man,
or
I've gotten
their
some
number.
stories from my friends, man.
Yeah, I've never been stood up before. So
Never
I
in my life.
It could
What I
happen
look
to me
like?
though.
Are you
Like,
crazy?
listen.
Not me though.
You're my boy.
Yes, sir. Y'all gotta stay safe out there. But do you have any like really funny or odd dating stories? Like a date that happened that was just abnormal, really good, really bad.
I think it's that one that I took out, and it was a good date.
Yeah.
So the date was good, and although I'm dating, I would give a little tropes.
Yep. Explain to the people what troops mean. They don't know
What's
what
it
that
going,
is.
man?
They don't know what that is. They don't know. They're not ready for that yet. They're not ready for that yet.
A peck on the cheek.
Oh, stop playing with them. Stop playing with them. We're not in that. Where's she at?
Yeah. So this one I did not do that. I was like, you know what? I
Played
I was
slow.
really in this girl. I thought she was pretty. I thought she had what I was looking for her. But as I said, it was a waste of money. But the date was good. Yeah, we had good conversation. Looking back, I remember we were eating, and she took 2 pieces of the chicken that she had. And she was like, "Oh, I'm full." And then back in my day, you don't eat after the girl has stopped.
So your backs. Your
They
backs.
just sit on I'm hungry.
And then the waiter came took my plate, and then she said, "Oh, can you bag this for me?"
You know she went home
So
and
I paid for
devoured that.
nothing. Eventually, her friend became my best friend.
Uh-huh.
And she told me about that day. She came home and she couldn't wait to just get into that chicken.
Straight
Wow.
munching, straight munching.
That's so
straight
funny. It's so funny thinking about like dating back then and dating back now, and how there's such like subtle differences
Right.
that create a big, like, there's subtle things that have happened in between that time space that have created a bigger gap, like changing the landscape. That's where I'm going at.
right.
Changing the landscape of dating for both men and women. But something I feel like with you saying that the man doesn't eat after the girl stops or whatever
Right,
it is.
right.
It feels like the same type of thing of like guys either splitting the bill or paying. I saw a video the other day, and it was talking about the difference between dating around as a single woman nowadays and the difference between dating around as a single man. And when it's dating around as a single woman, it was just things like makeup and standing and waiting and stuff like that. And for a man, all the video was cash or card, cash or card, cash or card, cash or card. Because as a guy, it's like a societal pressure, I guess. But I feel like, and this is a question to both of you. I'm not sure if it was the same in your day, probably. How did you deal
with splitting the bill.
yeah, not just splitting the bill, but with things like knowing that if you can't financially, like, whatever, then it almost feels like you're not worthy of even going out, much less like love.
So basically, as you said, I got married early, right? I didn't have any money to take anybody out like that. This was the first person and probably the only person that I took out like that. But then there were other things that we did, like going to the beach. I still believe that a man should fit the bill. But I also believe that she should take me out as well. She should date me as well. And anybody that doesn't do that, then...
Okay, before we get to you, real quick, with that, at what point do you think that should happen? Because obviously it wouldn't be the first date, probably not the second. So like, where in the dating scheme or where in the stage of the relationship do you think that like the expectation should be now as a woman, you should start taking care of the guy a little bit?
I wouldn't say take care of. I
But-
still think...
I mean, taking care of in terms of the paying for the date or going out or like planning the date type thing.
I think he can be at any stage.
Okay.
I really do think he can be at any stage. However, if I have advanced and asked you out, then I should take care of it.
No, I agree.
But I also think that if we get to a stage where we're liking each other and you want to take me out or you want us to go somewhere, you need to take care of that.
Okay.
Right? It's a two-way stream. But as it relates to foot in bill, there wasn't much bill to foot. Right?
Fair.
It was more of taking something for her, taking fruits or...
Oh yeah, capitalism
Going to
hadn't
the-
sunk its teeth in fully. yet.
Yeah, going to the what I call park. Wasn't really a park, but somewhere that looks like a park. And taking our own food, like fruits.
And I get
or
you,
whatever.
Jamaica is a
Yes.
different landscape a little bit too, in terms
Yeah.
of like bringing your own fruits. You probably
Right.
never pay much, or
Right.
if anything, you go around the back and pick.
And there was a lot of group dating,
Oh, okay.
right?
Huh.
Yeah, there was a lot.
That's
of
something that I
group dating.
think in our generation.
I've never done that before. I've been on one
Group
double
dating?
date in my life, and I don't even think that constitutes as group dating, like how you're referring to.
Right.
I
No,
don't
it's
think
like
that
a
happens very
couple of
much.
us. We like some girls, and
Oh,
we're
they
going
ran a
out,
three
right?
man.
Or more than three,
No.
and all of us.
But
go
that's what
out
we
and
call
we're-
it
Yeah,
now.
we
Like
call it
if-
like a 3-man,
yeah.
a 4-man, a 5-man. You know, you get your homies together.
Yeah.
Say one homie's talking to a girl, but you got the rest of your homies with you. You say, hey, you got some shorties from my mans? They be like, your man's cute? Yeah, my mans them look good. And then all of them pile up together. Everybody goes out together. But usually in this day and age, it's not really dates that's
Yeah.
happening. It's a bag of man and a bag of woman in one
Yeah,
house.
but I mean, we go out, we are there with each other, but then we pair off, right? And we
fair.
go different places and have our own conversations. And for me, dates were a lot of conversations. It was a lot of getting to know you because I knew very early that I needed to settle down. I knew very early. And so a lot of people who knew me back then would probably describe me as a player, right? I don't describe myself as a player.
What'd you describe yourself
I
as?
describe myself as knowing what I want
And going for it.
and going
And
for
I
it.
It's not my fault if I get it.
100% agree with you.
And
Yeah,
the thing
I
is, it's
see
not-
something that I
100%
like. I
agree.
see your hair looks nice, and I'm attracted to your hair. So I want to get to know if I'm attracted to your body, or if I'm
fair-
attracted
fair.
to your mind, or if I'm
Fair.
attracted to right. And if I get to a point that I'm not seeing,
You dip.
yeah,
Respectfully
later.
dip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
later, right?
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. Why waste? Why, waste time? Right.
Exactly.
So for Javar, since you're still dating, how like that same pressure in terms of women, or in terms of, sorry, not women, in terms of knowing that if you are going out, 80-90% chance you're paying for the date.
100% chance I'm paying for the date.
Is that true?
Yeah, 100% chance.
Unless she's taking you out.
Unless she's taking.
That's
Yeah,
what I was.
he's
That's what I was getting at in
right?
terms of
Yes,
like,
yes.
is it 100%?
I've had women take me out before, but that's a whole different thing. That's when she approaches me. Hey, for whatever reason, maybe she liked me. Maybe we've been friends from
When you say
before.
approach you,
She texts me. She come up to me. Yeah, she hit me.
so
with
so there are persons that approch like
Yeah, of
physically
course.
approach.
Yeah, of course.
Physically?
Yeah, I've been
Oh.
approaching a club.
Oh well, club is different.
Well, yeah,
His face once he heard club. Question. Side tangent. Have you ever been to a club? Like, have you ever been in a club? Have you gone clubbing? Have you been to a party?
I've done it.
Okay.
Not my scene.
it's not
Yeah,
any of our.
it's not
scenes.
any of our
It's not any
scenes.
of our scenes.
None of, yeah.
We can- we can all
it's
agree on that.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
Really.
and
I
it's
want to
very
have a
loud.
conversation, and there's no
Yeah,
way to have a
exactly. It's just
conversation.
stupid.
And
Loud.
worse, I cannot dance.
It's okay. Let the light go on a little bit. No one's watching you.
But me personally, like Dad, I think the man should pay.
Okay.
But at the same time, that's just my personal thing. Me as a man going out with someone, I'm asking someone out, I'm planning this, I'm going to take care of it. If I can, obviously. If I can't, I'm just not going to do it. Like, we'll figure it out until I can do it, right? But at the same time, do I believe it should be a requirement for men to play? Not at all. I don't think, because I feel like in today's society, a lot of women require men to be traditional men. And I think that's 100% okay. But I feel like a lot of those women who require men to be traditional men aren't being traditional women. So how do you require us to be something that you yourself are not being? And then I feel like on top of that, when men say or say that they require qualities of a traditional woman, they're most times labeled as toxic or this or that or
Misogynistic.
sexist, misogynistic and stuff like that. And that I don't agree with. I feel like splitting the bill, it makes sense, especially if you're actually building something with one person and you that person are going out often. I think splitting the bill makes a lot of sense, especially trying to build a future.
Yeah.
Financially, that makes sense for both of you. You're both are going to profit off that.
Fair.
Splitting things, and at one point you can both buy a house together instead of one person draining their entire bank
Yeah,
account
yeah.
and then the other person.
Building their whatever, doing what. Yeah.
Exactly. It just doesn't make sense. So me personally, I like to pay. But at the same time, I do like to get taken out as well.
Oh, fair.
I think men should be taken out from time to time. I don't
I don't
believe
think
in
it's a
one
time.
side
I don't think
things.
of time to time. For me, I think first 3 dates ideally should always be split. And
You think it was to be?
and the reason why.
Interesting.
And let me tell you why.
Did Nick split the bill?
No.
You paid?
Yeah.
So
But
how is it that you married her?
Listen. Before Nix and I went out on our first date, we had like maybe 4 or 5 years of text messages going back and forth. So our
Yeah, but what was
first
the-
date,
there was no pain right there.
Yeah. Exactly. So our first date wasn't really a first date.
Got ya.
We already knew each other. We had already established certain things. We already whatever. So while it was the first time us meeting, it felt different because there was history. We had known each other. We had had all the first date conversations already.
Right.
But the reason I think that like maybe the first to third date or whatever should be split is because the whole point of dating is we are unsure of each other.
Right.
So if I am unsure about you, why am I footing both parties? And that's what I mean by the pressure. Because
I
a
understand
part
what you're
of the
saying.
reason why some men, and I'm not saying this is your logic, but like some people, the reason why they feel like they want to pay is because that's what society has said. society has said that as a man, you need to be financially this, you need to be financially that. And if you're not, you need to get that in order before you go grab Oman. So from that perspective, I look on it as, no, if we're both coming into this and we're both giving each other like additional or whatever, then it should really be, let's split this first bill and then maybe the next time you pay, or maybe I'll pay this time and the next time you pay, or you pay this time and the next time I pay type vibe. But putting all the pressure on just one side of the party, I don't think that it's especially in now, like our age now, I feel like putting pressure just on one side of the party creates a relationship dynamic of unequally yokeness is not a word, but it feels like you're starting.
Yoke.
Yes, you feel like you're starting. It feels like to me you're starting the relationship off on already putting a burden on the man, and all the woman has to do is get ready and be pretty.
But I slightly understand that, though. And the reason I slightly understand that is because one of the things that a lot of women look for in a man is that he can be a provider.
Yes, but a provider does not mean financial.
Right. In this day and age,
Everyone needs to work because everybody broke pockets.
But I go from it from a biblical perspective, right? And the biblical perspective is the man is a hunter, right? And I'm hunting. So if I'm hunting, I'm gonna.
And the woman is the what? The gatherer. Well, or helper gatherer.
Right.
But in this day and age, what's happening is the man is hunting and the woman is doing nothing.
Right. Well, that's a different.
The woman is gathering the food in our belly.
But bear in mind. So let's go from when I met your mom. We just met at church of a mutual friend, and that was it. The Monday, I went somewhere. She was doing her hair. Both our mutual friend was doing her here, and we started flirting, like heavy flirting. She was flirting with me. I was flirting with her. I mean, I was putting it on her, and she was coming back.
The sparks are sparking.
I'm not sure if the sparks were sparking.
No, the fire never reached it, but flirting is sparks.
But me not sure if that was it. I'm not sure that was it. No, because I mean,
so you were just
heavily.
Both of you guys were just mindlessly flirting because you could.
Heavily.
That's a match made in heaven.
The flirt was heavily sexually suggestive.
Oh wait, with
at church?
With Unamada.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This was after church?
Sorry.
No, this was
my mother.
We met the Monday. And sorry, we met the Sabbath.
I feel like we're skipping past this. I'm sorry. My mother.
Listen, how did you think you got here?
Fair question.
Okay. I feel like
otherwise than your mother just could not resist me.
Okay.
Oh my
all right. And you lost me. You lost me immediately.
So we had heavy flirting going back and forth, and she asked me to drop her home, and of course I'm taking her home, and took her to the apartment that she was, and I'm pulling up, and about to get out the car because I mean. I thought
after the flirting and everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah? I'm going upstairs, right? And she came out the car and she said thank you, and she slammed the door and she continued walking.
That's my
and she never looked back. And I'm like, interesting, because normally a woman would that is flirting like that with me would it's suggesting that.
No, fair. Yeah. Something go on. Yeah.
And. I mean, we became friends, and probably a month or two into that friendship, I was in Jamaica, she lived in Florida, and our mutual friend and her boyfriend was going out. And she said, oh, I'm not coming because I'm not a third wheel. And my mutual friend said, who would you want to come? And she said, Greg. And so they called and they said, hey, I want you to come, whatever. I said, I have no money to buy my ticket to come. And she called one of her friends for the friend to lend me the money to get the ticket to come. So
I like you.
Of course she likes
me. She have to really like you.
Of course. But then she never gave the money. She made me got the money as a loan from one of her friends.
It don't matter. That's what a true woman do. She find it somewhere.
Yeah, fair.
But hold on. I thought that I was gonna get it.
Hey, listen, you paid for me to. You figured out a way for me to come up here, bro. Like,
And I didn't even get a kiss. And this was what set her apart from all the others, because it was like, hey, there's something different, because she's allowing me to chase, right? And she is pulling me in, but she's also pushing me out.
and I think that's really funny, considering that we started off this conversation by you saying that you were not really about the friend thing, then the lover thing,
Right.
And your wife made you
Yeah, a
have
friend.
to be a friend and then become. And I think in our landscape now, that's something that's kind of missing in terms of when like women some women relate to men and men relating to women. We don't get that dynamic very well sometimes. It always feels like either for men sometimes I'm chasing too hard or I'm chasing too much. I'm doing too much and this woman is not giving me anything back.
Right.
Or women just giving everything or whatever it is, and a man not feeling the need anymore to like chase or hunt or whatever it is. And I feel like we're missing that sometimes. We miss that like in our modern society or whatever it is. And I think that creates a lot of debates between men and women. Yeah. Even with the thing, I'm thinking about it. There's stereotype about podcasts about talking about things like should women and men split the bill, and I think it's so funny that we ended up at that topic at some point. But what was my point I was making before? Landscape, men and women or whatever it is, and it just creates like this clash, between the two genders when there shouldn't really be.
No, at the end of the day, we should work together. Like, we're trying to get together. Right. Men and women are trying to get together. But it's so true. Like, especially in like 2022, 2023, you scroll on TikTok.
Pandemic days and
stuff. Half the whole Andrew Tate thing, half the stuff you see was just a whole bunch of toxicness on the side of men and on the side of women. And it was like, why is there so much clash? The women want men to be traditional. The men want women to be traditional, but not really. But the women don't really want them to be traditional either. And to me, it just seems like a bag of terrible communication. A bag of terrible communication.
And I think something that social media does sometimes too is we are very selective, or the algorithm is very selective in the things that it pushes and promotes. So it creates this narrative that we see on social media that isn't always necessarily indicative of real life. Right. In terms of like, I do believe there's a lot of women out there who are traditional women who want traditional men. And I believe there's a lot of men out there who are traditional men and want traditional women. But social media doesn't push that narrative. The narrative that social media pushes is what you said. It's
a clash.
But what is traditional man or what is traditional woman? Because I feel like my wife is both traditional and contemporary, both at the same time. Because
define that though.
Okay, so for example, she wouldn't mind being a stay-home mom, being pregnant, clean, cook. She really doesn't mind that. But she is a professional, and not a professional in her own right, a professional according to society, right? She has all the degrees and the accolades or whatever to go with that, right? She's an executive. But at the same time, that to her is... Okay, so she takes the stand that as long as she can trust her man's heart, right, she will rely on her man, but she will also stand there for him. So if we need an extra dollar, right, she's not going to be dependent that the man needs to bring in the extra dollar. But that was different from when we were dating. When we were dating, she wouldn't necessarily be the type of person that is going to be spending anything. Of course, she has taken me out and she has taken me out, but that was after several dates, right? But now that we became serious.
What's up to my peers? Have you ever kind of felt that, man, I cannot stand that old dude? And to the old dudes, have you ever felt that, wow, that young man really is annoying? Well, check out our sponsor, bridgingstrategies.com. Helps bridge the gaps in your generations of your churches, your families, and your organizations. Check them out today.
now that we became serious, like I didn't have a full-time job when we were getting married and all of that. And we came together and she basically worked out how we're going to do this, how we're going to fit our bill for our wedding, what we're going to do, how we're going to get things done, that type of thing. And she took the reign. And even to this day, she really takes the reign from a financial perspective, right? I'm a pastor. I don't make much money unless I do strategic consulting or consulting with generations and calm and so forth, right? Or consulting with businesses and educational
Should
institutions.
clarify you're an SDA pastor.
Exactly.
Some of them do.
So most of what I have achieved financially is not me, it's my wife.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. And she's good with doing that as well if she has to do it. But to this day, she wouldn't mind not doing anything but just...
That would mean, though,
what
that-
she would say, control me.
Yeah, but that would mean, though, that she's not traditional. Because a traditional wife would not do that.
No, but he said she's both.
No. But that's what I'm saying. A traditional wife isn't going to take care of finances. They're going to take care of the home. They're going to take care of the kids. They're going to
I
take care of
don't-
whatever.
Yeah, but
I don't
she
necessarily
will
agree with
do
that.
it if
but
she
that's what I'm
has
trying.
to, though.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
a
if you
traditional
look-
wife isn't going to do it.
if you
If they
look-
have to, the man needs to do
And
it.
that's why I'm saying, how do we define tradition? Because the Bible in Proverbs 31 talks about a virtuous woman, and a virtuous woman traditionally takes care of her man, takes care of her home, get up before everybody is up, go use her hands and go to the marketplace and sell things and come back home. She's not just relying on the man to bring the money. So you get what I'm trying to say?
I
So
get
when
you.
you talk about
but
tradition,
in our like generation or society currently, tradition means man pays everything. If you look on TikTok or you look on social media and you look at even like there's a trend that was going around that people in relationships would show the breakdown of who pays for what.
right?
And all the traditional ones would be man pays the bill, man pays the trips, man pays the this, man pays that. And what does she do? She makes flower arrangements for the home.
Yeah.
And it's very clearly unequal in terms of like.
So if y'all who are listening, that's not a traditional biblical. A traditional biblical stands with the man and the man stands with the woman and they work side by side to achieve everything.
Let me touch on something then that I think people will touch on now that you said that. The term submissiveness. Because there is a big, I'm forgetting all my words today. Stigma, yes. Well, I'm forgetting all my words today.
I got you, fam.
There's a big stigma to that word because I feel like people or women, when they hear the word submissive, they think downtrodden, they think beaten upon, they think you were forced to submit.
Right.
From a biblical perspective, what when the Bible says that a woman should be submissive, what does that really actually look like, or what does that really mean?
It looks like your mother.
Okay, no one knows what mom
Right.
is.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
I get that. But it looks like your mother, and then I'm going to pass it on to Javar. Is your mother a walkover?
No.
Okay. Is your mother submissive to me?
Yes.
Exactly. So what that looks like is a partnership, right? So when we were in Colorado this weekend, somebody said, it shouldn't be the man is the head of the house. It's both partnership, and both Donnet and another wife came out and said, no. He's the head of my house, right? And Donnet is firm on that. Greg, you're the head of my house, because you can't have two leaders. You're going to clash. One must yield to the final decision, right? Where we have the problem is when a woman cannot find a man that she can yield to. A woman wants to feel secure
And
that,
safe.
safe, that I can trust your decisions. But listen, I don't just make decisions. Your mother always say, you're the head, but I'm the neck.
Right.
And I turn that head, right? She doesn't just blindly say, okay, you're taking me through the door. I mean, she does it now after years of trust in me, right? But it's still, let's sit and talk about this.
Right.
Why are we going through the door? What's going to happen when we go through the door? How are we going to manage doing this?
Right.
Right. So it's a partnership, and ultimately, if we disagree, she will yield and say, I submit to what you think.
And then tell you afterwards, say,
No, this is what happened now. As a man, a real man, it makes me think twice.
I get you.
Because I don't want to take my woman
Somewhere where she's not.
outside this door and harm comes and I can't defend that.
Right.
So it makes me now want to say, babes, let's
Let's rehash
talk
this.
about this and see. I'm not just gonna just do it because of ego. I'm not in a relationship for ego. I'm not trying to be a macho man. I'm trying to have a partnership, and I think that's where the problem comes. We don't understand what it means to really submit. I submit to my wife. Several times I submit to my wife.
It's like, even like you said,
right?
financially, that would be would that be an example of you submitting because she takes, or not really?
I don't think that is submit. That's partnership, us working together to make sure that we achieve what we want to achieve.
Okay.
Submit is, Hun, you are more of an expert in this. You know more of this. So you lead. I will follow. Right? I will listen to what you are saying. Right? So it's from that perspective. Submit is really understanding that I can trust this individual, that my heart is safe. And even if they make the wrong decision, it's not intentional to hurt me, right? It's a genuine mistake. And because I trust this person, because we're a partner and we are working as partners, then we submit to each other, right? But ultimately, my wife will tell anybody in this world that my man is the head of my home and the head of my life. But I can guarantee you this. She's a strong woman. She's independent. She's educated. She's equipped. And she does not need me.
And I think that's very whatever in terms of relationships. I find, at least, or listening to other people talk in their relationships or their marriages and stuff like that, that a lot of healthy relationships I see, or a lot of men say that I need my woman more than my woman needs me, which I think is funny because those are the same relationships where the man is the head of the house.
Right. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
And I think that's really funny to look at, and I think it sometimes can be a hard balance to strike. Right. Especially with our age groups now and stuff like that, when we come from a society that really at every turn and corner tries to pit us against each other. Really tries to, almost every other debate I see, it's men, woman, this, that, this.
So let's get a little gossipy right here.
T.
Who is the head of your home?
I am. I would say I am. She's like, okay, yeah, she's not. Yeah, I am.
He didn't even know. He didn't even know.
Anything I say here, I got to rehash it back again. So I got to make sure, man.
But yeah, I think that's like going back to dating. I think that's a big thing with dating nowadays, and why you have a lot of women saying that they can't put their full trust in men or really submit to them, because as much as us men, we want a woman to submit to us, a lot of men aren't putting themselves in positions to have a woman really trust them and have that faith that they can submit to them.
But the truth is, a lot don't know how either.
That's
right?
true too.
7 brothers, 7 different minds, right? And 7 different actions. I know I saw my father defend my mother. He stood with her. He was the head of the home in a loving, caring way. And I knew I wanted to pass that on. And I think you guys have seen that in me and in your mother and how we relate. So naturally, you are going to want to pass that on to her, to have that blissful married life that you have seen and experienced, right? But a lot of people really don't know. And I think that if you don't know, you need to put yourself in a position where you are getting mentors or you're seen, instead of just diving in and trying to swim and not knowing the first stroke that you ought to be taking. Right?
Yes,
Fair.
and stop taking so much advice from social media, because
And don't take advice from
It's
single
not
people.
real. Yeah. That's good.
Sorry, no offense.
I do not agree with that statement.
100% agree with that.
Oh, I do not agree with that statement
But
at all.
no,
You're going to take swimming lessons from a basketball player?
No.
Can the basketball player swim?
Huh?
Can the basketball player swim?
I don't know. They've
No,
never been
no,
married.
no.
I've never seen them in a
can
pool.
take- You can take ideas or whatever from a single person, not for your marriage.
Okay, fair. Maybe if you're in a
Well,
relationship.
you wouldn't
but-
say you've taken advice from me?
Yes and no, because the advice that I've asked you for, we've spoken about, hasn't been directly related to my marriage and more related to my growth.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's much more of what do I need to do to rectify situations I find myself in. So you give me advice on, Rashaun, you're like this, try to adapt this thing and that type of thing.
Context of who
Exactly,
you are. So,
exactly.
Javar, is dating frustrating?
Okay. The thing is, okay, I'm the type of person who people would consider like a lover boy, right? I've always had
Would
the
they?
dream to
I was about to say, would they?
anyone who's known me
Okay.
as a friend,
Okay.
anyone who's gone actually out with me,
Okay,
any
fair.
woman who's gone out with me would describe me as a lover
Okay,
boy
okay.
immediately. I hope so, at least. I'll be very,
That's what I'm about. Do you have a Google survey you sent to them after to be like, what would you use to describe me?
I should start doing that. Actually.
Yeah, honestly.
I would be confused if they didn't.
Rate the date.
Because of how I am. You know, I'm naturally overly romantic. Like I'll go all out for a second date for no reason other than I think this person might enjoy this, and I'll enjoy it just because they're enjoying it, right? That has proven to be my downfall in a lot of situations, because one, obviously I was growing up in a certain way. I was grown up in a very great household with a mother and a father and a brother. And, you know, even though we've had our own problems, we've been emotionally intelligent. We talk about our problems. We're very clear and cut with each other for the most part, right? Which has helped me develop into a pretty
Clear and cut person.
right? Pretty decent guy. A lot of women these days have not dealt with a lot of decent guys. Right? So when I bring 1% of my decency to the table,
all of a sudden,
now this person's
you're
in
the
love
best.
with me, and I really just want to go on a couple dates. And it's hard because, you know, I communicate these things.
He said, I'm too good looking, man. Like, I can't.
What am I
can't.
gonna do? Like, I'm just so good at stuff now. But I feel like I communicate these things very clearly. Like when I'm going out with someone, I make my intentions clear. I tell them I'm trying to get to know you in this context or whatever it is. But it always usually ends the same, where they're kind of more in it than I am, even though I made it clear that I'm not super in this. But because of the past that they've had, it's like when you've had stale bread your whole life, the moment you have a slice of nice toast with butter on it, you're going to be like, I'm never going back to stale bread again. And instead of trying to take the application of what they learned with me and apply it
To
others, they just say, let me just stick with this bread right here.
So, question I have for you: do you think that there is or are situations that you really are just doing too much?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I actually have a TikTok draft in my phone because I went on a date a couple months ago. Yeah, a couple months ago or something. And after the date, I really looked at it and I said, why did I do all that? like I went all out. This was a second date. I went all out, pulled out the stops. I'm talking about candlelight, favorite snacks, all types of stuff. You know, I made it real nice. Did a little paint and sip, real nice type of thing. And why did I do so much?
Because you weren't really interested,
I
were
wasn't
you?
that interested.
You know, sorry.
Is it that you weren't that interested, or you really want to find someone that you can be interested in?
And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. I'm the type of person who I date for marriage. As much as I go out on dates to learn and find out stuff about people and also learn about myself to see what I like and dislike. Generally, when I'm dating seriously and when I go out on dates and when I'm dating someone, it's different. Okay. But when I'm dating someone seriously, I'm dating with the intention to marry, or I'm just not going to do it at all.
Right. Fair,
you know what I'm saying? The way I talk to someone when we're communicating, even before we go on dates, it's completely different
than when you know that this person could possibly fulfill the intent.
Exactly. So I, for some reason, I think I've talked about this on the pod before, that I have people pleasing syndrome. So I usually just try to pull out all the stops, which is bad for my wallet and it's bad for my health, because it's not fruitful for anyone really, and that's something that I struggle with.
Bro, just say no.
No.
I know it's not that simple. I know it's not that simple.
No, it's not about being simple, because it's not like they're asking me for something and I'm just like giving it. That's never the case.
Yeah, you just do it out of your...
Usually,
You
if a woman
naturally do
comes
it.
up to me and
Right.
asks me for these things, I am not going to give it to you.
Right. Yeah.
I'm giving it to you because I just came up with this.
Yeah, I get
and I
you.
thought this was really cool. I talk to these people, I find out things about them. I'm like, oh, I see what this person likes. Let me do something that almost that they've never had before.
So
But
wait.
something-
So-
Because I like to set myself apart very early.
No,
on.
no, no, no. I get your
let
question,
me ask
but what
a
you
question.
have
Let
to-
me ask a question here. So somebody is watching this podcast.
Oh, God.
And you don't know them, but somehow your path crossed later on, and they hear you say this. How can somebody know that you are really digging them if
Like
you
I said,
naturally do
I'm
this?
I'm openly communicative with these things.
Okay.
I'm openly communicative. If you hear me say something and you choose not to listen to it, that
That's
is
on
your problem. Okay.
But
Okay.
this is the thing. Two things. One, are you not then giving mixed signals? When you do things that are indicative of super interest,
Right.
but say that you aren't.
Well,
Because I feel like that's what's happening. You confusing the woman and them.
I understand that perspective. I understand that perspective. But at the same time, I find it quite, how do I say? I find it difficult, for example, I find it difficult to not
treat somebody the way
exactly
that you would.
But you
like
can do-
I know
but there's-
exactly
but
what you're
there's-
saying,
But
though.
there's levels, at least because in my head, I look on it more as like
don't get me wrong. There's definitely levels. When I'm in a relationship with someone, or I'm looking to really be in a relationship with someone, there is nothing that I've ever done with just someone that I've dated that can compare.
okay, fair. But
Like when I say I go
but-
above and beyond, I know to go beyond
Yeah.
more than beyond.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I
can,
get you.
I can
get
really
you.
hit the stops.
But you also have
I'm
to
nice.
remember. You also have to remember because as a guy, the thing that we have to remember is women control a lot of things. And what I mean by that is women control like sex. Women control for some part relationships. And what I mean by that is if a guy approaches a woman for sex, more than likely she will give the answer yes or no. If a woman approaches a guy, not 8 times out of 10, the guy's going to say yes. Because that's just how men are wired versus how women are wired. However, the big jump that men have full control of is how interested you are. Remember, traditionally, a man asks a woman to be his girlfriend. A man asks a woman to be his wife. A woman has no control over when that happens. A man makes that decision. This is what I mean.
disagree.
No.
They have control.
How? If I decide I want to propose today, who's going to stop me? If I decide I want to propose next year, who's going to make me propose today?
The right woman.
No, they won't make me. I will decide to. And what I mean by decide to is
The
obviously she
right
will do
woman.
things.
The
No,
right
no,
woman.
wait,
I'm
listen,
telling
listen.
you, I'm
Yes,
telling you, I
but
was ready to marry.
But at the end of
I
the
was
day,
ready to
at the end of
marry,
the day, it is
but
still
your mother
Yes.
made me do that proposal.
Yes.
Without even saying
yes,
it.
100%, because you were ready to marry and you were willing to. If you decided right then and there you're not buying a ring,
Yeah, but
she
I was,
can't do anything.
But I was ready a long time ago.
Yes,
and
but
those
that's
who
what
came before.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. You met a right woman at the right time in your life that you were ready to propose. If you did not want to get married, nothing she could have done would have made you marry her because you would have hardened your heart against it.
True.
And that's what I mean.
True.
So because of that, when men do a lot or do whatever and a woman's already interested in you, she's already in her head. It's the same kind of concept as when a woman will just have sex with you immediately as soon as you meet her. You now know that regardless of whether this is someone who's interested in me romantically or not, that's someone I know will have sex with me. Versus, like, it's kind of the same on the opposite
okay,
end
I
of the
see
coin.
what you're saying. I see
Where
what
as a
you're
man,
saying.
when you
But-
do those things, it gives the impression to the woman that, oh, even though he says that, and please remember that there is a big romantic fantasy of convincing people to like you.
So let's be clear. Our podcast is biased to us men, right?
Fair.
We don't have a voice of a woman. But I want to ask this question: when do you take somebody home to your parents? At what point do you say?
You want to go first, or should I? I feel like
As
it's
someone who personally has never taken anyone home to my parents,
Right.
I think it has to be that serious for me, right? Like, I've wanted to take someone home to you guys,
Right.
And obviously, before I got that chance, the relationship ended because that wasn't it. And I'm glad. Yeah, we're all happy for that. We're all happy for that. And I'm glad that happened because I like that I have not really brought anyone to you. Like, you guys have met one girlfriend briefly at a basketball game. Like,
that was
in high school,
children,
so that
right?
wasn't
Yeah,
even nothing,
yeah.
right?
I mean, I've known of persons you're dating, but
Right.
you've not brought anybody home.
Exactly. For me, like, it has to be that level of seriousness. Like, we have to be one in a relationship. I'm not gonna just introduce you guys to some girl I'm dating,
Right.
Because, like I said, dating for me is really just to getting to know.
Right.
It's really not that serious. And when it really gets to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm really starting to feel a commitment to this person, and I want to envelop them in my life. That's when I would bring someone home. And I haven't gone to that stage yet.
fair.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully.
For me,
Hopefully.
for me, with I'll use specifically with Nyx, I introduced her to you guys because that was the final checklist. That was the final. I knew everything else from before that I knew she fit this criteria, she fit this bill or whatever it is. So it was more for me now, okay, she just has to gel with the family and then this is 100% foot on the gas.
Yeah.
So once I did that, I introduced her to you guys, whatever it is, and everything went well. I was like, okay, if it was outside of Nyx, I would introduce someone to you guys when I knew that I would want to marry them.
Right.
Type of vibe.
It's a bit easier, I think, because we're a pretty close family and we know each other pretty well. And it's fairly easy for us to clock
To gauge, yeah.
if this person's going to like. And immediately, if I meet someone and I can tell, for one, the first person, Rashaun, if I know Rashaun is not going to mess with this person, I'm going to cut it off immediately because you're the closest person to me. If the three of us can't go kick it somewhere, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I know the three of us can't kick it. The five of us definitely can't kick it.
And we already know dad's dream. If she can't come and we all lie down on the bed together, play
vibe,
games
yeah,
and
talk
be a
and whatever,
family,
yeah,
then it's just not going to work, right? And that was a stipulation you've made since I would need. So that's something that's constantly in my mind when I'm looking for a woman. So I haven't really had a person to, bring back.
home,
Even that one girl, my ex, that I wanted you to meet. Obviously, I was being mad delusional in that time.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
looking back, there is no way that y'all would have even liked each other. I know you wouldn't have liked her for sure. But, it is what it is.
You know, funny, you convinced me into that delusion. Because I thought, based on because I didn't know her, I didn't meet her. I thought, oh, okay, this really could be whatever.
And
Right.
he convinced me that she wasn't the right one by just talking about values.
Oh.
just that value conversation of saying, well, my value has changed and my value is different. And I knew that was not Javar speaking.
No, it wasn't.
It was not Javar speaking.
It wasn't.
Javar has more values than you and I as it relates to his ideal.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep. He has his type. He has his type. Yeah.
Right. So for him to come and say,
But, and all that happened. But the reason behind all that happened was simply because I was in a space that I didn't really have anyone else around me.
Right.
Fair.
None of that would have cut if it was happening right here.
Yeah, fair.
None of that would have happened, right? Especially since everything would be happening in real time. Right now, when I date, everyone in this house
knows that you're going on a
basically
date,
knows
yeah.
what's going on,
Yeah.
right? I come home from a date, if I'm not coming home really late,
"You bust the gum."
and he's going to ask me if I bust the gun, which means did I kiss her? You're going to ask me every detail. I'm going to be right there sitting on you and Nix's couch telling you guys every detail as I come home. Everyone in the house basically knows what's going on when I'm dating someone.
Except Donnet knows through me. Donnet's like,
Yeah.
But I feel like mom doesn't really care until it's time to care, if you get what I mean. Like, for her, it's just like, okay, is this going somewhere?
I think she does care. I think for me, she
Yeah.
can't bear me explaining her.
Oh,
I think that has to do it for me.
okay, fair. Fair enough.
But and we're closing out here, but I wanted to tell a story because I have a date went bad story. And I love to tell this story because to this day, I don't really, it's something I can't
you want to
believe.
tell the story?
No, it's a good story.
Okay.
It's a good story. So this was back in like 2020, 2021, pandemic, but when the pandemic wasn't too serious, you know? And I met this girl through a mutual friend and asked her on a date and we went to, you should know the story. And we're at this restaurant and we're eating and we're talking. We're having a great time. You guys know me. I'm cracking jokes. This girl's cracking up, holding her stomach, food flying out her mouth. Her nose is snorting. Like, she's girl is laughing. She laughing. She enjoying herself. Listen, when I'm out with a girl and she laughing like that, I know I'm good. I'm good. Because you make her laugh and giggle.
Listen, watch him go out with the wife.
And she
doesn't laugh.
She's
the one he's going to marry.
You're funny. Listen. I'm
you
telling
think
you
you're
right now. I'm
funny?
telling you
Right now, if I go with a girl and she's not laughing at my jokes, I'll leave her right there with the bill.
Just straight face, bro.
Straight face? No, not doing that. But yeah, she's cracking up, she's laughing, and in this generation, I don't hear it so much now, but back then, star signs were such a huge thing. At this point in time, I knew nothing about them. And I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Like I don't really take part, but now I know a little bit more about it.
Right.
I'm a Gemini, right? And I didn't know this at the time though. She asked me what my star sign was.
Oh, I remember you telling me that story.
Right. And I had to check my phone. Snapchat tells you when your birthday, little star sign. So I went on and I looked and I'm like, oh, I'm a Gemini. Showed her the phone, hello, smile. Like, I don't even know what being a Gemini means at this point, right?
Really, stop laughing. No more
This
jokes.
girl straight-faced, pulled her chair back, got up, and walked out. Now, there's factors to this now. I drove her there. I drove this girl to this date, right? Picked her up from her house and drove her there. So imagine my surprise when she walks up, gets out, and I'm shocked for a couple seconds, right? She don't say a word. Not a bye, not a you're dirt, not a I hate Geminis, nothing. Gets up, walks out, and I'm sitting there like, and maybe it was 30 to 40 seconds that I sat there and I was like, wait, what's going on? I get up, try to follow her out there, and she's not there.
I'm dead.
I've never seen this girl again. To this day, it's been years later. Never seen her again. By the time I got home, I was blocked on all platforms.
That's so funny.
To this day, I don't know what a Gemini man did to this girl. I don't know what happened,
bro.
But I pray.
Scarred.
I pray for her healing and her safety. Because I don't even know how she got home. I asked the mutual friend that we met through after, and she said, just don't worry about it. What does that even...
Hey, before she asked you the star sign question, she texted her friend and said, hey, be outside just in case.
Yeah, as I'm saying, it had to be, right? It had to be one of those, yo, emergency, come pick me up. Because what even happened there? And I don't have too many stories like that, but those small things in dating, for me, is what's made it truly hard.
Right.
It's the small societal nonsense that gets drilled into people's heads,
Right.
and that they believe so simply, and they forget to take every person as they come. It's the same thing with this whole men and women can't be friends,
Right.
all that kinds of stuff, because people have their bad experiences. I'm not saying those bad experiences don't happen. People do bad things, but you can't take that. And cousin Tiffany really put this in perspective for me the other day, because with my last ex, I am not comfortable with whoever I'm with going to the club.
Right.
Worse, I'm not comfortable with them going without me. Right. From a protector standpoint, for a bunch of reasons, I'm not okay with that. But the main reason I wasn't okay at this point in time was because the last relationship I had just gotten out of ended badly because of those things.
Right.
So I'm sitting there with her, and she texts me. She asks me, she's like, I know how you feel about the club and stuff, but a mutual friend of ours asked me to come with her for some birthday celebration or something. Are you okay if I go? And I was talking to our cousin Tiffany about this, and she was like, what is the real reason why you don't want her to go. Track it back and really understand why you don't want her to go. And it's not because I don't trust her or I think something's going to be happening to her, because I know she's with people that can protect her and with people I trust. But it's because I felt a way about something that happened in my past and I'm bringing it into my present. And that's what I think the bad thing that a lot of people do is you got to take people as they come. Every single person on the face of the earth has a different fingerprint, even a twin.
Right.
Every person has a different fingerprint. That goes for their brain as well. So you got to take people as people. You got to separate your past from your present, and you got to take things in stride. And always remember, use your history as a lesson. Don't take it in as this person did this, so now this person, because it's the same gender, or because they have the same star sign, or because they
Same
wear the
race,
same type
something.
of clothes, or the same race, or whatever it is, she's going to do the same thing. No, because no matter, even if this person had the exact same upbringing, it is a different person.
Right.
I feel like that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah,
Take your
yeah,
history as a lesson and not as advice.
Take your past as a reference and not a residence.
Yeah. This has been me and the boys. We really thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you tune in next time. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, that like button, share this podcast. Leave your comments, your questions. We'll see if we can get to them in the next podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.